Is she into you? A question that most men often find themselves asking themselves. Truthfully, nobody ever knows. But there are some signs. Can be kind of tough to figure out what those are. That's what I'm here for. In this video, I'm going to do 7 signs that she might be into you. We're going to hit legs. I'm going to flip back and forth between exercise and then a little blurb. But yeah, I'm thinking 7 signs. I like to keep the bar as close to my shins. Lats engage and then squeeze with the glutes. This is a hip hinging movement, and we can best do that when we squeeze our glutes. All right, so the first sign that I'm going to go into is, I think, very basic, but eye contact. Is she making eye contact with you? Is she even looking over in your general direction? Naturally, in a room, when we see something we like to look that way. So if you catch the same person making eye contact with you, there's a chance that she might be into you. Now, disclaimer, some girls also might not look at you. So if she's trying to look everywhere but you, maybe she's nervous. What that means for you is that you're going to have to start making eye contact and stealing glances. Now, sign number 2, body language. Naturally, people turn towards the thing that they're most interested in, you. So if you see a lot of body positioning facing you, that might be an indicator that, hey, she's liking what she's seeing. Not always. With any of these, you can't just take one of them and run with it. But if you see a couple of them working in tandem with one another, she might be into you. All right, now we're going to move on to the lying hamstring curls. I really enjoy these. Sometimes I'll switch the order. Sometimes I'll do these before I do the RDLs that we just did. But it all kind of depends on what's available at the time. But yeah, 3 sets of these, 8 to 12. Woo, man. All right, sign number 3. Does she always seem to be in your area? For instance, let's say you're at a gym. You go to the lying hamstring curl. All of a sudden, she's over by the lying hamstring curl. Okay, maybe that's nothing. Now, let's say you go over to do the leg extensions. Suddenly, she's over by the leg extension. I think you get my point, but you keep like noticing, man, like I keep seeing this person. She may be into you. The leg extension, I feel, is a must for like leg day. It's so good for your quads. It really burns. You really can get a lot out of this exercise. Basically, every gym is going to have one. So if you're not doing these, you need to be doing these. And you're not just dropping the weight. You're like resisting it on the way down. Don't give up on like half the exercise. Oh, I do hate this though. This one's a bitch. Oh my Lanta. Wow. All right, now let's say you've already somehow pulled yourself together a little bit to manage to get to the point where you're asking to hang out. The number one thing to remember is that a woman who is interested will make it easy to make plans. 100%. It will not be like this struggle. You won't have to jump through all these hoops. She's going to make it real simple for y'all to get together. So if she's doing all those things, throwing up a bunch of roadblocks like, oh, I can't, I'm too busy, oh, I got to feed my cat or whatever it is. If she's saying those things, she might not be interested. But if she isn't, she's making it easy. Maybe she is interested. Pro tip, you could change the way that this feels by when you move your legs forward, pointing your toes up versus out versus inward. They're all going to feel differently on your quads. So for overall development, maybe you want to mix in all 3, or you can stick with just one, whatever you prefer. But that's just something not everybody is aware of. Feet out, feet in. Okay. Oh my God. All right, let's move on to something else, guys. Whew. All right, we're gonna do my favorite lunges with this weight. Got the 80-pound guy, and believe it or not, this used to be the weight I walked around at. And it's crazy when you do something like this, you really start to feel that weight. It's like, wow, I can't believe it used to weigh that much. Woo! All right, this next one, super important. Touch. Does she touch you at all? When y'all are in close proximity to one another, like, oh, stop it, or oh, you're so funny, or anything like that. Girls are very particular about people that they touch. So if she's touching you, she might be into you. Oh my God. Okay. Let's be done with this. All right, glutes have been feeling good, so I'm just going to keep rolling with it. We're going to do some of these hip abductors. This is like one of those like kill time exercises for me. Like I'll do this more often if I'm waiting for something else that I really want. Doesn't hurt because I don't really do a whole lot of direct glute work. Oh my God. All right, I think this is sign 5 or 6. Let's say you're talking to her. If you notice that she's playing with her hair a lot, fiddling with jewelry, maybe some twirls, maybe pulling on her clothes, or maybe you walk in the room and she starts to sit up a little straighter, right? Might fluff her hair. Any of those things, what she's trying to do is look presentable. She wants you to see her in a positive light. So if she's doing those things while in conversation with you, my dude, she just might be into you. All right, now tip number 6 is super important. Okay, this is something that I'd say 90% of dudes look over. How often is she initiating? How often does she text you? How often does she come up to you to try to talk to you? How engaged is she? We spend so much time paying attention to how we feel that we ignore how they might be feeling. If you're always the one that's reaching out or you're always the one having to initiate any sort of plan or conversation or whatever, pull back a little bit. See if she reaches out. If she's not reaching out at all, or she's not initiating, she might not be into you. But if she's the one sending you messages, she's coming up to you to say hi, she's putting in effort, then she just might be into you. All right, calf extensions on the Smith machine, or not Smith machine, on the leg press. I like this because you can really load up the weight. And I like to hold it here because if there, in the event that there was ever an accident of some sort, I would want this weight to come, see, look at that, that's coming out. I would want this weight to come crashing down on these bars, and I can't assure that's going to happen if my hands aren't on them. A note on knee locking. Should you lock your knees out? I say it depends. I say you can lock your knees out as long as you're going slow and you're controlling it. You don't want to be pushing this and snapping and having so much momentum that's crashing down on your knees. In that event, no, you don't want to knock it. Wow. In that event, you don't want to lock your knees. However, with something like this, I'm isolating my calves, really trying to focus on just the calf. I'm working with a heavy weight, but it's a weight that I can control. So in this instance, I'm okay with locking my knees. I have full stability throughout my entire leg. We're good to go. And we're not really working with a whole lot of momentum here. My calves are doing 95% of the work. All right, my last sign to look out for. Is she taking an active interest in who you are as a person and trying to get to know you? Is she opening up about herself? Is she asking you questions, like deep questions, not just surface level questions, but like stuff about your family? Does it seem like she's really trying to get to know you on a personal level? If so, then she might be into you. Okay. People, if you're just getting those short ass texts, the lulls, the Ks, the fucking whatever, a like, if that's what the energy you're getting, then she might not be into you. But if she's taking an active interest, putting in the effort, she's not going to put in effort, if she's doesn't have an active interest. So if she's doing those things, then chances are she might be into you. But truthfully, you never really know unless you ask.